Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day as always. And today I want to talk about responsibility. Now, we see things two ways. One of the ways is that everything that's happened to you. Everything you've experienced came from outside. Isn't you. And we, these things that happen to us, okay, events, we see them as something that is going on that we really have nothing to do with, but it impinged upon us, and that is why we experienced it. Okay? Now, the other way of looking at things is to say that I am responsible for everything that has happened. I am the one who made everything the way it is. I am the one who created my own reality. If it's like this, it's because I made it like this, because I want it to be like this. And that is the correct way of looking at things. You are responsible for your own reality. Things don't happen to you, you make them happen. As long as we think that the world is happening to us, you don't get your tax refund. And next week you get a letter from the IRS. And you're like, oh no, this terrible thing has happened to me. Okay? But that's not the way it is. The way it is you made it happen. Okay? And that is the nature of life. Or let's say you get into a car accident and you had nothing to do with it because the car came at you and you tried to get out of the way, but you couldn't. It was too late, and oh, boom, it's over. But you got on that street in your car, didn't you? You were going out to do something. What was it? Doesn't matter. And you drove. You put yourself in a position to be wrecked by the world. Everything in the world, including people, is the world in this particular moment. The world is doing you in, you think. Okay? And that is the victim state, the ego state of victimness. Okay? You think you are a victim of circumstances, right? That's what you think. Which I'm not saying that's wrong. But circumstances that you had 100% control over. Well, I didn't have control over my circumstances. But you did. Because everything that's going on in our brains, okay? This green leaf, for instance, okay? That's inside my brain. It's inside your brain too. Because you're looking at it. I say it's green and the sky is blue. And why is it green? Because the nature of it is to be green? No, because the light that's coming off it is green, because the leaf absorbs every other kind of life except green. Every other kind of light except green. That is why it's green. Not because it is inherently green, like a butterfly's wings. The color is there because of the shape of the scales. It's not there because of the inherent color of the object. There is no such thing as something happening to you. You are the happening. And you are making everything happen. Until you accept this, I know it's hard to accept. It's easy to be the victim. So easy. And we do it all the time. Oh, poor me. Okay? And I'm not blaming anyone for being the victim. I'm just saying it. Okay? But being a victim means you have no power. You chose to walk down that street. You chose to go in the middle of the night. You chose to be in a position where you could be raped or could be mugged. You chose to walk home alone. You chose all that. You made it all the way it is. And were there bad people out there? You knew there were bad people out there. But you did it anyway. Why? Only you know that. But if we continue to play the victim, if we continue to say, it's not my fault, this terrible thing is happening, but I have nothing to do with it, then we're going to be in suffering. Part of the problem is possession. We take possession of everything. Everything that can be taken possession of, we take possession of it. Our trinkets, our cars, our homes, our children, our wives, our relatives, and our state. And we take possession of the terrible things that happen to us by saying, poor me. I have been fouled. Okay? Instead of saying, I did it. I'm the one who's guilty. I chose to walk down that street. I chose to do it in the middle of the night. So on and so forth. The world is full of variables, symbols, labels. And we believe in these things. Like the American flag is a symbol. So is the dollar bill. So is everything else. And as we believe in these things and we make these things a part of us, by having a bank account or a stock portfolio or whatever we do in order to do what we do. Okay? We are stuck in that. Okay? Look at money. We believe money is everything, right? If you don't have money, then you're worthless, right? That's the way it is. You're a bum. Right? That's the way we think. Without looking at the intrinsic worth of the person. They have no possessions except the clothes on their back. Therefore, they are a bum. They don't have a house. They don't have a car. They don't have a place to stay. A bum. We call them homeless. But really, we're putting the label, okay, of not good on them. And that label is just a symbol for didn't try hard enough. Okay? Oh, they're in that position because they didn't try hard enough, because they didn't care enough. They didn't this and that and the other. They're in that position because it's all bullshit. That is the way we see it because that is the way we want to see it. And unless we take responsibility for what we want to see, then we're going to be in suffering. Look, the world is a shit show. Okay? There are terrible things happening. But by saying there are terrible things happening, we are saying that it's terrible. We are saying that it's bad. We are labeling something as bad. And we're labeling things as good. And we want the good, and we don't want the bad. But good and bad are things that don't exist. There is simply what is. That's all. As long as we think that things are the way they are because of outside circumstances, outside forces, then we're going to be trapped. It's hard to say it's my fault. It's very hard. Okay? But it is your fault. And you have to accept that that's what it is. You have to accept that this thing where you think things are happening to you is just an untruth, an illusion. Everything is happening because you are in control of everything that's happening. Okay? We think, oh no, it's out of our control. But that's not the way it is. Because of time. The belief in time. The belief in things going along in a certain way, like dominoes. You tip one domino and they all go down. That's what we think time is. Okay? And we do one thing, and little do we know, but that's knocking down a domino. And as the dominoes go round and they come back and get us. Because everything has consequences. So, try to realize that you are responsible for your life. That there were no things happening to you. And if something did happen to you that you said was bad, it's because you said it was bad. Look at these trees. Beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful trees. They don't know the meaning of the word bad. We made up bad. When the logger comes and cuts them down, which hopefully will never happen, but could happen, they're not sitting there saying, oh no, the world is doing this to me. They're accepting everything that happens as it happens, and thus they are not caught in the illusion. We think that everything is solid, like this chair. Okay? Or the ground. Solid ground, that's what we call it. Okay? But the reason the ground or the chair or anything else is solid is because the atoms are moving at tremendous speed. And so you cannot pierce it. You just can't melt through it. Unlike water, where the atoms are moving slowly, you slip right through. Unless the water freezes. And then the atoms are moving at a tremendous speed. We think it's because everything is frozen. The atoms are still. But atoms cannot be still. What we think doesn't matter. What matters is what is. And taking responsibility for your own life, for your own happening, is what matters. Blaming other people for your life, which we do all the time, is suffering. Oh, I'm this way because this person did this to me and that person did that to me and so on and so forth, and they made me the way I am. Well, no, that's not the way it is. You made you the way you are. Everything in here is in my control. Everything out here is really in here. Is there an objective reality to the world? I don't know, because everything that I'm experiencing is going on inside me. I assume there is. I assume these trees are really here. But this is the important part. Accepting that you have made and created your own reality. You have done everything that has happened to you. You are responsible for everything in your life the way it is, because you have made it that way. You are a meaning-making machine, and everything that's happened to you, you have made a meaning for it. And that is why it is the way it is. Because you were chasing the good and running away from the bad. So when the bad happened, you called it bad. That's just the way it is. And so we have to accept that. We have to stop the blame game. In order to awaken. And when you have an attachment, okay, that's part of the blame game. This is how fundamental it is. Because you'll argue, you'll say, oh, I'm attached to this because of this, or because of that, or because of circumstances, or whatever. But that's just not the way it is. You're attached to it because you're attached to it. Because you had a feeling, and you wanted something that was different from what is. And you became attached to that feeling. And whatever it is that made that feeling happen, or that you think made the feeling happen. You get into your brand new car and man, you get a feeling, don't you? A good feeling. You smell that new car smell, which is really plastics outgassing. That's what it is. And that feeling is what you become attached to. And that car, while cars are great, is not you. But you have made it a part of you, because when you picture yourself, okay, you picture your car, your wife, your kids, your house. And you say, I have achieved all this. But achieving something is not how you awaken. You cannot achieve awakening. So, by spending time in the now, you can begin to see what is. Not the way you made it, but what is. And then you can change your own image of what it is. Because the way you see everything is what it is. You made the image of it in every detail. And until you can see that, really see it, you can't change that image. And we need to change the image. Like our memories. These memories are part of us, right? And everything having to do with them is part of what makes us think that everything is the way it is. Because we have this experience. And that colors everything else that comes after it. But that experience, okay, is only what you want it to be. Even if it's bad, you made it bad. Okay? And if you don't always take responsibility for making it bad, then you're going to be in suffering. I know it's hard to look at things the way I'm talking about. Okay? But it is profoundly what needs to be done. And that's as it is. I mean, it's really hard to accept some things. And that's why we don't accept them. Whether it's because the mores of the day or religious ideals or whatever it is, we don't accept things. And by not accepting them, we are causing suffering. Not only to ourselves, but to other people. Your son is gay. And you didn't want him to be gay. You wanted to have a wife and make kids, right? That's what you wanted. And now you're not accepting of that. And now you're hurting him by not accepting him. And you're hurting yourself because now you have cut off contact with your son. And it's all the way it is because you made it that way. Because you fought against the isness. And the way we need to be is to accept our own responsibility of everything the way it is. That's it. And that starts with the little things. And the more that you can accept things as they are and not try to change them, the more you will feel freedom. Okay? We think that accepting things maybe is not freedom because it means you're admitting defeat. Sorry about that. You're admitting defeat because you're accepting something. You're giving in, which is bad. We don't want it that. We don't want to give in. We want to stand our ground. Right? That's what it is. But only by surrendering can you grow. And that is what is truly important. You can stagnate. Absolutely, you can stagnate. You can stagnate your whole life. Thousands of people have hundreds, millions, billions of people have stagnated. Stayed in the same rut that they've been in. Okay? Or you can be free. And that freedom comes with a price. And that price is responsibility. You can't truly be free if you're still blaming your life on things that aren't in your control. And we do this because of symbols. Money. Things that don't really exist. The symbol for spendable wealth is cash. But what is spendable wealth? Buying something, right? That's what it is. Buying things, which only have the meaning that we give them. And after a while, it becomes empty. It becomes meaningless. No matter how many things you have, you're not going to be happy because of the things you have. Okay? No matter how many Instagram posts you make of you in your new dress, that's not making you happy. So, try and accept that you are the author of what you experience. Try and accept that. I know it's hard. I know it's easy to just blame. But when we take responsibility for our own condition, we get free. Okay? Which means happiness. You can't be happy if you're in the trap. Can you? Maybe you think you've got happiness. Maybe you, and that's fine. But real happiness is from being free. Well, it's been lovely to talk to you. Please, if you have any questions, comment. Maybe I haven't said it right. Maybe I haven't explained the things the way they should have been explained. Tell me. The only way I can get better at this is by getting feedback from you. And the only way I can answer the questions that you have that are completely unique to you is if you tell me what they are. I love you all because you're me. We are the same consciousness. There's only one consciousness, and that is you and me and everything else that exists. We think of these trees and bushes as not being conscious, but they have their own consciousness. Not our consciousness, not as developed, not as badass as our consciousness, but still conscious nonetheless. All right, well, have a great day and a great life.